Thank you so much, Rajnish, for joining us on this podcast at Dawdle.Live. Very interesting set of topics do we have today to discuss with Rajnish. But before we go there, I would give a formal introduction about him. He's a seasoned technology professional with a strong expertise in software engineering, data analytics, and solution architecture across global enterprises. He's currently software engineering manager at Caterpillar Inc., where he leads engineering initiatives while driving a scalable, high impact technology solutions. With prior roles at Wipro, Ericsson, and Tata, he has built deep capabilities in architecture design, cross functional delivery, and advanced data modeling. He's known for combining analytical rigor with engineering excellence, and he brings a very strong track record of building predictive models, optimizing systems, and delivering business driven technology outcomes. Thank you so much, Rajnish, for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you so much, Rishikesh, for the good introduction.
Thanks, Rajnish. Rajnish, the first one is that it's pretty kind of clear from your profile that you have a very strong foundation in data modeling, analytics, and statistical systems, and today you are leading engineering in large scale enterprise environment. So how did that early data centric experience shape the way you design and think about complex software systems today?
So this is very nice question, and I would like to answer in phases. You have to be patient and be with me for some time. Okay.
Yeah.
So see, starting with the initial stage when I was started with the data predictive modeling AI perspective area.
Yeah.
So everything is like for me, everything is data driven. Right? So I wanted to do everything on the data side. I don't have understanding of the business outcome, nothing. I'll get input, I'll create some model, do a predictive analysis, and then get the output. Right.
Yeah.
So this is how kind of initial phase of a data scientist, data engineer, or analytics engineer will work. For every each and every thing, they will dependent on the quality of the data. They'll be dependent on the how the model is going to perform and how the things are going to work in the programming phase, right?
Yeah.
So that is you are when starting as a data scientist or data engineer phase data. Now going forward, right, in the second perspective, it comes when we see the picture in larger phase, little bit of in application perspective, where is this predictive modeling is going to be utilized. Okay, in real world, you don't have the data which is coming from neither the input is good and nor the predictive output is good, right? So you may or may not get the data which you have built the system, which you have done the predictive analytics. So neither you will get the that predictive output, right, nor the input which you desire. And each and every organization, they have a bulk data, but they don't have a meaningful data, right?
Yes.
So bringing out that meaningful data and inserting in your modeling, that will be your second phase. That will be my second phase, basically. How we bring the meaningful data to our predictive modeling, which
Yes.
can be utilized across the system, right? So that is like, for example, I was building a sensor machine where you get the data from n number of sensors in a factory, and based on sensor, we have to decide when this machine is going to fail.
Yes.
Right? When I did a POC or I did a with the small data set, working perfectly fine.
Yeah.
When as soon as you deploy it, it is failing because the sensor is giving not how you want. Sensor doesn't give data like that,
Yes.
right? Sensor gives data how it has to give. So that was my digital twin project, which I was building. Then later on, we have to sync the data, understand the data, and then proceed further. Also, the amount of data it generates, right? Sensor generally it was generating per second, and while doing POC, we were taking some
Yes.
sort of data. So that is something where that transition phase happened, right? So that was the second transition when from a single program I went to the system level or the application level, where we are connecting with APIs, getting the data directly from the data store, getting the connected with the sensors, and we are working. Now, third phase beyond this, right? It was connecting with the businesses outcome, right? It doesn't matter that what application you build might be good, right, for you. but how much it is going to contribute in your ecospace, in your organization, right? So that is where currently also I'm involved,
Yes.
right? So once that comes into the picture, right, you understand the overall picture. You might be hearing out multiple discussion or buy versus build, right? So this is comes in this area, whether we are going to buy, we are going to build, and that is this phase, leadership phase, where we understand multiple aspects of the business,
Mm.
whether we are going to build that is costly, or we are going to utilize some specific tools model, or
Yes.
we are going to create some our tools. So this is comes when you understand
Mm.
multiple wings of the business, how it works, those area. And also people versus patterns, right? So we should have the skill set to do now, right? Earlier, when you are individual contributor, it all depends on our effort. Now we have to think about the team effort, we have to think about the business. So this is how the overall transition for me
Yes.
from level 8 to till now works.
नहीं, this was very nicely explained actually. बहुत ही लेमन ने इतना पूरा जर्नी बता दी। और पता है वो जो आप बता रहे थे कि पहले पीओसी किया फिर उसके बाद ये जितने भी सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोवाइडर्स हैं मार्केट में जितने भी सॉल्यूशंस हैं ये सब आपके पास आएंगे पीओसी करेंगे दिखा देंगे बहुत अच्छा जा रहा है बट एक्चुअल
Exactly, that
प्रॉब्लम
is happening now. See, now I'm at the stage where I'm evaluating them. Okay, so what is happening is they all will come. They'll show same thing whatever I have done 5-10 years back. Okay, and I am understanding this solution is not going to work. I know
यस
it
यस
because I know the drawbacks. I have spent a good amount of time.
यस
Those things are happening. I'm giving feedback also as and when needed. This is how it is going on.
यस that is where guidance of leaders like you is pretty important, especially for all those founders who are building new stuff. Rajnish, you have been kind of worked as an architect, and now you are leading engineering teams. So, what is the biggest shift that you see? You experienced moving from designing systems to owning delivery teams and outcomes now.
Okay. See, the architecture is basically uh, I have designed around 30 to 40 architecture system in generative AI and AI so far. Architecture job is easier than current job, easier than the owning the engineering team. Okay, I know the when I was architecture, I was thinking engineering leader his job is pretty easy, right? So that was the thought. Everybody has it. But this is a myth. The architecture job was pretty easy. Architecture is basically deals with your technical and logical diagram, which it is a feasible system. You think about how it is going to scalable. You
Yes.
think about what are the right technology for this particular solution. You think about that there is that should be secure, that should be scalable, only those aspects with
Mm,
respect to that product, right?
mm,
What you are doing the architectural design. If you come to engineering delivery, you think about the execution, you think about the people versus technical skill, or it is not versus, I will say it is like people and technical both together, right? You think about the timely delivery, you also think about the more you become more on people oriented rather than technology oriented.
yes.
Okay, and also feasibility,
Mm,
right? If we are going to build, what is going to be outcome, what are the things going to be changed
mm,
with this implementation? Basically a larger picture we have to think on that area, and we have to decide from our experience basically. And it helps actually when you have done architecture, it helps to work with the technical team, because whatever they are trying to say, it is very much understandable.
yes.
And it also helps you to get the insight.
Mm,
So that way it is good, but there is a huge shift, because you were dealing with technology, you were
yeah.
dealing with the Sonnet cloud, Sonnet, Chat GPT. All of a sudden you came to the deal the people, right?
Mm,
The person's problem along with the technical problem. So
mm,
that is a huge shift. I would say.
Punar.
So, this is like, see, in certain things you understand, right? But you don't react.
Right.
Okay. हमें पता है बहाने मार रहे हैं, but we will say yes, fine, carry on. Reason being, this is ultimately our team. This is going to be deliver, right?
Yeah.
If I try to counter them in each and every aspects, I am not going to achieve the result which I need. Ultimately, this is the, see, sometimes how in your home you understand your son or your daughter, they
Yes.
are saying I need this because of this. They might not need it,
Yes.
and as we were also like that, right? I mean, in our childhood. So
Yes.
it's like generation to generation you'll see that. But yeah, ultimately these people are team, and they are the one who are going to achieve the result, right? I am
Yes.
alone cannot achieve. They are the one who are going to help me to achieve the result.
Mm.
So that is more important for me. Okay, so I am not here to I am so the biggest shift is, right, we have to be a guide and
Yes.
mentor, not observing them every time, right, what you are doing, what you are not. So that is what my view, and it might change people to people how their way of working.
Rajnish, when we talk about organizations which are into telecom and industrial technology, systems are not just digital, and you have already mentioned it. Like they are very deeply tied to physical operations and real world constraints as well.
Hmm.
So, what are those unique challenges in building scalable, reliable systems in these environments?
There are multiple actually. So
Hmm.
I worked in, as you mentioned, Ericsson, right?
Yes.
I worked in Polycom. I worked in Comcast for
Yes.
longer period of time. So these are few telecom industry which is I worked. So it's multiple changes, multiple problems you will see in those areas, and not only those. I mean, anyone is, see what happens is, let's take Comcast, Ericsson, any organization, any telecom or any organization. They are not, their journey is 100-year old, 50-year old journey they have, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
some of their system is like 10-year old,
Yes.
15-year old, right? They designed is scalable from that time period.
Yes.
Okay, if you want to make them scalable at that time, it is best system,
Hmm.
right? They might have designed, okay, 5 year down the line, this system will not break. But now 10 year down the line,
Hmm.
and they have lot of data, lot of queries, lot of things running there. Suddenly
Correct.
they cannot change that hardware. So that is first challenge. It
Hmm.
is not only software, it is hardware which is involved.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
hardware, it has its own capacity. It cannot be changed or replaced overnight, right? Today they are going to replace, again 5 year down the line it will become non-scalable. The
Hmm.
things how it is changing, right? So that is one. Second thing is functional expertise and technical expertise, both getting in one's kind of resource is very difficult. The
Hmm.
person who works in manufacturing, the person who works in telecom, the person who works in any other industry, healthcare, right? Not necessarily he is having same amount of understanding of generative AI model, data analytics, right? Getting combination of functional as well as your technical is very very difficult, very very different, right? So he has been working from last 20 year in manufacturing.
Yes.
All of a sudden you say I will automate your this process, he will not understand how software will do, right? How much ever you say I want to do RPA, how you will do RPA? You think this is feasible? So getting that mindset, bringing the mindset of doing certain things automatically is lacking today, right? Because of the reason XYZ,
Hmm.
whatever I told. And third thing is, this might be not a, with everybody, but I have seen the places where automation means reducing people.
Hmm.
Automation means removing people, right?
Hmm.
As and when you go and talk to a functional person in an organization and say, I want to bring automation, his face will be dull,
Hmm. Hmm.
because he'll think now people are thinking of removal, firing, right? So those things will come in his mind. So that mindset removal is required, right? We should give him the confidence that it is not that your role is going to be eliminated, it is going to be more technical. You are going to, your work is going to be more easy. So those kind of feelings we have to provide instead of, and now
Yes.
leadership talk is always like, how many people can we reduce if we do this, right? So that is the leadership talks nowadays, actually. So people hear it out and they think, now he's talking to bring AI or data in my area, so is my job safe? That is
Yes.
what is the challenge. Not only telecom or manufacturing, it's across. Everyone is feeling it. So that's a few things which I can think of right now. There will be multiple more, but yeah,
So Rajnish is telling that your work is not going to be eliminated, your work is going to be elevated.
elevated. Exactly. That should be that's how it should be.
Rajnish, with such a strong background in predictive modeling and data science, how do you see enterprises evolving in terms of data-driven decision making today? Are they really leveraging the data or there are still gaps?
Now there are a lot of gaps. Okay. Right now, if you see, data is a byproduct. Data is not a product.
Mm,
Nobody produces output as a data, right?
mm,
Everybody is reuses data,
mm,
and from there they are trying to figure out what can be produced.
mm,
So these two are different things, right? If you want to have a decision making,
mm.
first line item, we have to work on our data set.
Yes.
And if data is correct, data is aligned, then only decision making via predictive modeling is possible. Right? Now, what is happening? You are generating a log. That log is a data,
Uh,
right? But your output, you are not generating data for certain decision. You are generating data. Okay, it is getting generated. How can we use it? That is the question comes every
yes.
time, right?
Yes.
How can I utilize this data? What I can make sense with this data?
Mm,
It's not that, right? You have to make a decision, then you have to create a model, and then you have to go with decision making. There I see lot of organization working. I what I read last, I think 92% of organizations are investing in your Gen AI, all that areas today. But not even 1% production deployment. Not
mm,
even 1% they are able to utilize it. The reason being is there are tools available, models available, everything is available. But the reason is they don't have the right data to feed in. So there we have lot of gaps. If anyone is working on Gen AI or decision making, first they have to work on the data. So that is where I feel is a huge gap today. And second, what I mentioned in my last comment, right? You should not give them feeling that you are going to be eliminated, right? Then you will not see the right effort, okay?
yes.
Because even though you have data, I know if this is going to automate tomorrow, I'll not be there, right? So that feeling I'm getting from the leadership. In that case, I will also not put the right effort or right data.
Yeah.
Instead of, so I always say to my team while educating on AI or something, right? See, AI is not going to replace you anytime. You will be replaced by a person who knows AI. So better you learn AI. So
Yes.
you will be in the system. So that is the kind of feeling we should provide. So that is where the gap. One problem is there. Second problem is adaptability. So what happens is you create a very nice workflow, very which is working fine.
Yeah.
But in certain CMM level 5 organizations which they have their own way of working even today.
Yes.
Policies and everything are such a strict that the adapting to the new things is becomes very challenging. Okay, and it takes so much time that in between you will get 2 3 new releases of a new software or new LLM models which become irrelevant your previous work. So that is again one issue, right? Third thing is, if you see the majorly banking and healthcare, they are more on the security oriented
Mm,
organizations,
mm,
right? But uh, their worry is good only because these things are deals with huge secure data.
yes.
So they also creating systems, building a system. They are not adopting it because of security reasons, because of data leakage, whatever we have seen in couple of incident with a couple of good
Yes.
LLM service provider etc. Right, so it's not foolproof. Anytime it can break. So that is where the things. These 3 4 reasons are there where you don't see any much deployment on that side. You'll see people are working, they are talking around, they're creating buzzwords, but
Yes.
nobody is actually want to place people actually deploying.
So as per Rajnish, like 92% of the enterprises are exploring solutions related to Gen AI, but only 1% of them have been able to deploy that.
Correct. So those things are doing. I'm not talking about simple chatbot. You might see in multiple places, right? That's not the case. I'm
Enterprise.
talking
Yes.
enterprise level. I mean,
Yes.
it's that level things.
Rajnish, you have worked across consulting, product engineering, and large enterprises. So, how do these environments differ when it comes to execution speed, ownership, and innovation?
See, consulting is pretty fast, right? So consulting is the thing which you love doing. You need to just give some knowledge from your past experience, and they will execute or don't execute. Not your problem, right? So you can suggest, you can consult. I have done consulting for a couple of very huge manufacturings. In fact, I have worked with CTOs of them
Hmm.
directly. Right? So uh, it it's they were impressed because only providing knowledge, right? So it's easy, understand their system, provide the knowledge, and then proceed. So consulting is easy. Consulting is not a decision making. Consulting involves your previous experience and whomever you are suggesting, whichever product you are doing consulting, it's up to the product owner and that execution partner. He has to decide whether this
Yes.
particular suggestion I have to proceed with or not. Right? In fact, if you have to build also, you need a consensus from the person,
Hmm.
right? And then again, it depending on the leadership choice or how good you have you have taught your you have given him the confidence. Based on that he will proceed. So consulting is that way. When you talk about product engineering or those areas, right, you are owning the entire product, right? In that area you cannot say, or we cannot say basically that no, he has provided the suggestion, so I have proceeded. The every feature is our own ownership. Okay. And we have to do a lot of research based on the previous equivalent product, based on the previous work which happened in organization. We have to do a lot of market research whether this product is going to work or not, right? We have to do feature engineering, which feature should come first, which feature should come last. So these kind of things in feature engineering, we have to, and then again, creating in the leadership, when you talk about creating a team who can deliver that product, that is very important and very difficult task. Without that, we cannot succeed in any product. So creating a team, making the team to stay until the product is there.
Yes.
So, so it's not that you create a team and you left. So you have to work with them day to day,
Yes.
understand what is going on. I have led a few teams which they will not talk at all.
Hmm.
Things are not working, not working. That's all. Right? Having like 7 8 teams, you cannot actually talk every day to every team.
Yes.
Whenever and there are few teams who will talk to you every 15 minutes. So both, if you are having both the type of people, you cannot actually focus on everything. So what will happen, right? Team X delivery day came and they said, no, it was a blocker 3 months back,
Hmm.
so I couldn't deliver.
Hmm.
So why did you not told that time? But that time question doesn't make sense. Now we are already past. So
Yes.
again, we have to rethink everything. So that kind of orientation with the team is very important while you are doing product engineering or engineering management or complete multiple product owning. So these are the few things which we have to think when we are doing consulting. Consulting is very easy. Then you are doing product engineering, then you are doing leadership.
Yes. And there's one question which is very close to your heart, is that how Gen AI is redefining enterprise intelligence for engineering leaders.
See, this is basically because I have been to that, yeah. So I have been to working into that area. So Gen AI is basically what you say. It's not a technology as such where you have a team and they are going to work on it. It's a delivering the excellence, right? It's a something which you want to deliver as per your excellence time. How the time is getting reduced as a leader, you have to think, right?
Yes.
So using Gen AI. And Gen AI is not, it's not only that your chat GPT or something you are just putting and getting the question answered. What is the baseline data you are using? How much time you are going to reduce with that? How your team is getting excellence to that, right? So those things as a leader, we have to think which and all system we are doing a repetitive work in an organization, right? I'll just give you an example. I mean, it is from my project itself. So suppose in any organization you are getting you are having 100 or 200 applications which is running. For each application you have a support system. For each application you have 10-15 people who are supporting regularly. Now they get a issue either from your monitoring system or from end customer. Now, what is the cycle they follow? What they do is basically once they get the issue, they try to look
Uh,
the issue, then they do root cause analysis, understand where it fails, and then they go to a particular team, which layer it fails, whether it is database failing, front end failing, back end failing, network failing, wherever,
yes.
right? So they go to the particular go to that particular team, and then the team is going to resolve.
Yes.
This entire process takes lot of time,
Uh,
right? So this entire process, finding the issue, and each organization, right, which I talked about, they are having very old organizations and they have very huge documentation for everything,
mm,
right? So think about Ericsson, they might have n number of documentation in their networking area. They are
yes.
leaders in that. So likewise, each one is having documentation, right? So in couple of things I have seen it takes days. Okay. Now think about a system you build using Gen AI, agentic AI.
Mm,
What it does, it connected to all your data which you have,
yes.
old issues, your documentation,
Mm,
and your code base,
mm,
everything. As soon as the person gets P1 or it gets the issue, he can actually directly put into the system as a Gen AI that goes to all the system, find what was the previous issue came, and it can get the corrective action, write a small piece of code, and give you. This is
mm,
what is the fix. So how much you reduce the time? You have reduced. Think about a yearly if you are getting 300 or 400 such issue, which is very less. I talked
yes.
about 100 systems. So
Yes.
if you are reducing daily some hours, ultimately it is huge reduction in time. Those can be also it can be involved in your system engineering. Those kind of details. So that
Yes.
is where Gen AI is redefining things.
Mm,
It's not the it's no more people manager. It's identification of what's wrong is going in my area as a leader, and where we can utilize the existing Gen AI or any other automation system. But now all other automation system has been used a lot. We
yes.
have seen the output from them. Gen AI is something which is still evolving, and you can get this kind of automation where you can actually change the execution excellence from the only providing the details. Also, your team will be not in monotonous job,
Yes.
right? So they don't have to every time get an issue, go to the Confluence, go to the documentation, search the issue, and then put that comment. That
Yes.
is something not they are getting challenged. They are getting challenged to build this kind of system, this
Mm,
kind of work. That is where we have to be as a leader. We have to be redefined for our team also. So this is couple of system build me in my previous organization and a couple of them in current. That's where I say this topic is good for good to discuss.
yes. And Rajnish at last. like you have kind of touched upon this, I think, in the first 5 minutes, is that beyond technical skills, what differentiates engineers who grow into leaders and those who just remain individual contributors?
See, the nature of the person in terms of how it he is going to how he is going to communicate to his leader as well as his subordinates,
Hmm.
right? So uh, that's, see, I mean, it's a old saying that people doesn't change their organization, they change their manager. It's very old saying, and which is true.
Yes.
Which is true, because if your team is very happy with you, if your team is very happy, forget about your upper management. If they are less happy also, and which they will be, right?
Ah,
In general, managers will never be happy. Okay, because the expectation is defined like that.
hmm.
It's not nothing wrong. If they'll start become happy, we may start become lazy.
Yes.
So nothing wrong in that, basically. So that is one thing. Your behavior towards your subordinate. See, if your team member is saying to you that, Rishikesh, I am going to take sick leave today, I want to watch movie, that is the moment you are a good leader, right?
Hmm.
If he is not able to say that,
Hmm.
that means that is the quality you should bring within you, where your team is openly talking to you. What
Hmm.
is their problems? What is the things which they cannot do, and when they can do, right?
Yes.
What help they need. Otherwise, it's not going to work out in long run, right? So take care more of your subordinate, your teams, rather than your higher management. Higher management you can inform.
Hmm.
Definitely, they have to be taken care by. Your team is the key
Yes.
person to deliver it. So that is the thing which I think is needed, right? So
Hmm.
the moment they start saying to you, I want to see movies, so I'm taking leave, that is where you are perfect.
Yes. This is well explained, actually, Rajnish. Like, and the best part about this conversation is that, Rajnish, you explained it in such a good layman term that I understood entire 37 minutes of this conversation. नहीं तो मैं तो 20-30% मेरे ऊपर से निकल जाता है तो
मैं वो लेवल पे बात करने, what I told, right? I mean, first thing is communication. How you are going to understand my word? I can talk a lot of technical words, right? So
Yes.
that may not be feasible for this kind of conversation.
Thank you so much, Rajnish, for taking out time and sharing all these insights with our audience. And again, extremely grateful that you're a part of the community. And we look forward to hosting you again, maybe on a different set of topics. Thank you so much, sir.
Definitely, Rishikesh. I will be happy to do that again. And I have a lot of topic to talk, technical, not technical, because of my experience plays like that. Yeah. So definitely we can actually regroup again.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.